Hey there, woman of purpose. This is Charlene, life purpose and strategy coach of Life More Abundantly Coaching. Welcome to today's video. I help women in transition who feel disconnected, purposeless, stagnant, and unfulfilled reconnect with God and the woman that she was created to be in order to begin to do the things that she was called to do in order to live the more abundant life that she was already destined to live. So today I'm recording this video and it is exactly 23 days before 2020. We are about to enter into a new decade, y'all. Isn't that exciting? And I don't know when you'll be watching this video, but I want you to listen up because this will apply to you no matter where you are, what time of day it is, okay? Living a more abundant life starts with knowing Jesus and getting intimately known, getting to know the one that has created you more intimately, okay? When you get to know this, when you get to know this person, when you get to know Jesus for yourself, you'll begin to know who he has called you to be, he has created you to be, and therefore you can begin to find out some of the things that he's called you to do, okay? And so now, while we are human beings, emphasis on beings, right? There are things in this life that God has called each and every one of us to, right? And so as it is with every year, we have a new set of goals, a new set of plans that we want to accomplish or achieve. No more resolutions. We're not doing resolutions, okay? But can I tell you something? For a long time, I used to say, why should I even set anything up? Why should I plan anything? Why should I set goals? Because the Lord already knows what he wants to do in my life. He wants to know what he wants to do with me, right? And yet I'm a planner, y'all. I like to know what's happening when it's happening, right? But there's nothing wrong with this, and the Lord really began to reveal this to me a few years ago, that there's beauty in planning. There is beauty in setting goals, right? Our God is a planner and we are his image bearers. So therefore, we ought to be planners too. We ought to set goals, And so it's okay to set goals, okay? Even in Proverbs 16:1, which we'll touch on in a little bit, God tells us that we can go ahead and set our plans, set our goals. He tells us to do that. So before I get ahead of myself, I want to talk to you about something that is crucial to you having a successful year and accomplishing your goals, okay? And so as I mentioned, in the title it says, are your goals goals? And GOALS is an acronym that I'll share with you in a little bit. You want to determine this first, and then you want to know how you can make sure that your goals are goals, okay? So what does GOALS, the acronym, stand for, okay? God gave this to me last year when I was doing a 7-day P.R.A.Y challenge, and I'll leave the information below in the description so you can join the challenge. You can watch the videos, go through the prayers. There's a lot of action worksheets and guides to help you to get to the bottom of why you may not have been successful in some of your goals this past year. So GOALS stands for God-oriented or ordained, and led by the Spirit of God, okay? Basically, you want to make sure that your goals are God-ordained or ordered, right? And led by the Spirit of the Lord, the Spirit of God. That is crucial. I know that they have, acronyms for SMART goals and all those, and that's okay, but you want to make sure that your goals are purposeful, that they are orchestrated by the Lord, they are ordained by the Lord, they are ordered by him, and that they are led by his Spirit, okay? So that's what GOALS stands for. Okay, so now that we know what that stands for, we want to make sure, how can I make sure that my goals are goals, and how can I make sure that I will have a successful year? First, let's define what a goal is, okay? Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines a goal as the end toward which effort is directed, aim, okay? In the popular story, and I shared this in the 7-day P.R.A.Y challenge, there's a story about Alice in Wonderland, where there's a part in the story where in the movie she's talking with the Cheshire Cat, okay? And believe it or not, the Cheshire Cat teaches Alice and us a valuable lesson about the importance of setting goals and having an aim in life, okay? So when Alice asked the cat which way she needed to go, the cat asked Alice where she wanted to go, okay? In other words, he was asking her where was her aim, what was her direction, what specifically did she know where she was going, okay? And Alice didn't care as long as she was going somewhere, and that's what she said. And the cat cleverly responded and said, well, then it doesn't matter where or which way you go because you're going somewhere, okay? And so that's how it is with goals. If there's no intention, there's no aim or direction in your life for this year, you will end up somewhere, as Alice said, but it probably won't be the place that you wanted to, desired to, or should be. Okay, so that's why it's important to have goals. Okay, so how do we make sure that our goals are goals, right? How do we make sure that our goals are God ordained, ordered, and led by His Spirit? The first thing you have to make sure is that you are sitting at His feet. Sitting at the feet of Jesus. That is crucial to making sure that your goals are goals. How are you going to know if they're God ordained or ordered by God and led by His Spirit if you're not sitting at His feet, if you're not talking to Him, if you're not reading His Word, if you're not listening to what He's trying to say to you, if you're not praying? Okay? So, and I just use that from Luke chapter 10, verses 41 and 42. This is the Passion's translation, which I absolutely love. It says, the Lord answered her, Martha, my beloved Martha. You can put your name there. I'll put my name there. The Lord answered me and said, Charlene, my beloved Charlene, why are you upset and troubled, pulled away by these many distractions? Are they really that important? Mary has discovered the one thing most important by choosing to sit at my feet. She is undistracted, and I won't take this privilege from her. We may have a lot of goals. We may have a lot of plans for this coming year. I know there's a catchphrase going on for 2020 being the perfect vision year, play on words. And while that's great, the key to making sure that our goals are goals is we need to make sure that we are sitting at the feet of Jesus daily, because it says clearly in this verse that Mary was undistracted. Why? Because she was sitting at the feet of Jesus. Martha, who was doing everything, human doings versus being, right? Mary was being, Martha was doing. But because Mary was being, she was undistracted. She discovered the one thing that was most important. The one thing that is most important to make sure that your goals this year are goals, God ordered or ordained and led by His Spirit, is to make sure that you are sitting at His feet daily. Okay? And God said He wasn't going to take that privilege from Mary because she had discovered the most important thing. Okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing, remember I referenced Proverbs 16:1 to you earlier, okay? I want to highlight something, how to make sure that your goals are going to be goals. There's a difference between plans and steps, and I'll use plans and goals interchangeably. But basically, goals are often referred to as plans, okay? Plans that one has for his or her life, an aim or direction, right, as we mentioned before. There's absolutely nothing wrong with having plans or goals, as I stated in the beginning, because our Father is a planner, right? But so Proverbs 16:1 tells us to go ahead and make your plans. Go ahead and make your goals, right? Where we often get into trouble is when we don't consult the Lord about our plans or the steps we take to accomplish our plans or goals. And I know that I've been guilty of that. I'm sure you have probably been guilty of that, where you have set something up, you have not consulted the Lord, you have not sat at His feet, and we get into trouble, right? And then we become frustrated as to why our goal wasn't achieved, or why our plans didn't come through or fall through, why they fell through rather, right? Okay, and so in that same verse, okay, and then later in verses 3 and 9, it tells us two things that you want to focus on. And remember, I was highlighting plans and steps. Okay, the first thing it says is the Lord directs and determines our steps, okay? That's ideally the how. Okay, so He's telling us that we can make our plans, right? Go ahead and make the plans, but you have to recognize that God is the one who is going to direct and determine our steps, not us. He gets to decide the how, right? And it also says in verse 9, and when we commit our plans, when we put them before Him, when we sit at His feet and we consult Him on our plans and we commit them to Him, we put them at His feet, we lay them at His feet and allow Him to be able to change and rewrite or restructure or completely eliminate and reshift our goals. When we do that, we commit those plans and actions to the Lord. It says our plans will succeed. So there's beauty in doing that. So, okay. So we've covered 1 and 2 of how do we make sure that our goals are goals. We need to be sitting at his feet daily. We need to understand the difference between plans and steps, knowing that we can create our plans, we can create our goals, but we have to make sure that we understand that God is the one who determines the how. We may have some ideas of how we want to create, how we want to walk out the goals and plans and the steps that we ought to take, but he ultimately determines that. And so we need to be continually seeking him about that. Okay? So it starts with him, right? When we commit our plans and our steps to him, and it ends with him. Okay? Because in verse 4 of chapter 16 of Proverbs, it says that ultimately all our plans and all of our goals are for his purposes anyway. Okay? So I encourage you to read that, those verses. All right, the last thing, how can I make sure that my goals are goals, right? Write it down. Write it down. There have been studies that have been proven that it is 42% more likely for someone to achieve their goals if they write them down. There's something about writing them down versus when you read something, okay? And in one particular study, it was a neuroscience study, it was determined that goal success was more likely to happen the more vividly you can describe your goal in written form. Okay, so that is the beauty of making sure that you are more successful about reaching your goals. Okay, long before this, right? Long before these studies, long before this neuroscience studies that they've done, the Lord knew that, right? Because he created us. And he established this and gave us instructions in Habakkuk chapter 2, verses 2 and 3. And I know we've probably heard these scriptures, these verses before. Write the vision, make it plain. But I want to read it to you in another version, okay? This is the Message version. It says clearly, write the vision, what you see, very large and clearly, so that anyone passing by can read it easily. Okay, so there is beauty in making sure that you write down your goals, write down your plans, write down the things you want to accomplish in this year. So let's recap again. How do we make sure that our goals are goals? We want to, number 1, sit at his feet. Number 2, we need to understand the difference between plans and our steps and the how to. That's why we need to continually sit at his feet to find out, how does God want us to accomplish these goals? It may not be the way we wanted to, and most times it isn't, right? Because again, we learned that it's all about him anyway. It's for his purposes at the end anyway. And then lastly, we want to write it down. Write down the vision. Make it as clear and as vivid as possible. All right. And so with that being said, I have a worksheet book, and it's a worksheet and a guide to help you to level up this year. Okay, that is the name of the worksheet and guide, and I will link it below for you to sign up so you can receive your free copy of it. Okay, and it explains how I've set it up, how I went into detail. It explains each category, and if you happen to need any more help with getting clear on your goals, your purpose, or you want help with creating a strategy to go after your goals to help you to accomplish these goals, if you would like some more support, encouragement, and accountability, because those are 3 key components in also making sure that you can be successful at reaching your goals, you can first grab the copy of the free Level Up worksheet and guide, right, that I mentioned, but also I'll also include a big picture map, because I'm a visual person, and it helps, I believe, to be visual when you can see things on paper. So I'll include that to begin creating your goals. But if you need more individual coaching, I do offer 30-minute consultation complimentary sessions to help you to work through the guide, or help you to get clear on something, or help you to create a strategy to make sure that you have a successful year. Okay, so you can sign up for that. I'll link that below, or you can visit my website at lifecoachcharlene.com. Again, this is Charlene, life coach, life purpose and strategy coach of Life More Abundantly Coaching. Here's to us leveling up this year. Happy New Year to you, woman of purpose. You can do this. You take care. Until next time.